questions on that? Okay, now I guess I got to get down into the pit. We're working on parent material. What did we get for parent material? Residual. Coastal plain. Orientation is down here. It's relatively uniform. You got a lot of variable colors in here. You have some patterns the way these things are folded in here. You got this seam coming all the way up. It works around. It goes back down on this side. You got this big kind of a greenish, grayish area in the center there. If you look over on this side of the pit, you definitely see something that's got somewhat of a rock structure to it. Even in this zone here, you have a little more resistant seam coming through there. So those are all indication of a residual soil. Great, great. You're all doing good. But the complication thing is here, if you look, you see this thing sitting here, you got to say, man, where did this come from? It's not angular. It's not subangular. It's pretty good rounded material you got sitting in here. It's not a lot, but you do have it. You have that one there. You come up, you find some more rounded stuff here. There's another rounded piece. Look over here, you got rounded pieces. So you definitely have some other material. You got two contrasting materials. Now, although it is thin, you have a thin capping in here, you do have some of these rounded materials, and it's not really influenced the profile that much, but with the rounded material in there and how rounded it is, we also select coastal plain.
You select both?
You'd select both, correct. Correct. Any questions on that? What we're looking at? And that's where we're sitting. We're sitting in this part of the county here, kind of right on that fall line where you have the coastal plain meeting the Piedmont. It's not a clean cut. You can have both parent materials, the way it's deposited, something that's really high in this mica contact, a lot of mica in it, and also you can have stuff that has a lot of gravel in it, clay, pretty heavy in clay content, so you can have your coastal sediment all over top of your residual material, or you can have a straight residual material, or another thing is you can have straight coastal plain material. So it's not going to, that's where it starts getting a little challenging where we are. But the big thing is when you're looking at your different materials, if you find something where you have a lot of these micas in it, and you can see how they kind of shine when you're doing your texture. I don't know if you looked at it when you're doing texture. It's a lot of shiny stuff in there. That's your mica flakes. You have something with a lot of mica in it, that's going to be your residual material. If you have some gravels in the profile up on top or through the profile with some clay material, that will be your coastal plain. Any questions on that?
I have a question.
Sure.
If you just mark coastal plain sediments for like the parent material, would you get half credit if you didn't mark like?
We would give you probably partial credit on that one because you at least recognize that it is there.
All right.
You've recognized that okay, we have the coastal sediment, but you've missed the residual material underneath. We'd give you partial credit for recognizing that. Any other questions? Stoniness. Let's see. Parent materials got stoniness. Stones. None. Stone is. This is not a stone. Stone's got to be about 10 inches. So anything less than 10 inches is not a stone. So if it's not greater than 10 inches, you don't have a stone. Any questions on that? And there's no rock outcrop here. There's nothing attached. I saw rock outcrop around here. If you look at the site between your stakes, you don't see anything visibly. Rock outcrop, so that would be none. Okay. When you go down through here, you look at your profile. We're starting out with your surface color. And what would you call your surface color?
Brown or dark brown?
Brown or dark brown. What you got going on here when we say kind of look at where our ribbon is, we really mean that. The variability is great within these pits. Starting right here and going on over. At one time they plowed this and they brought quite a bit of subsoil on up into the topsoil. So if you're going depth, someone would put a depth here, but actually when you come over to the tape where we took our measurements, the depth is totally different. So you got to kind of, when you're doing your depths and measurements and looking, you want to really see what is going on right at your control section where our flag is. And on here, you moisten this up a little bit for your color, and the surface color would be a brown or dark brown color on that. It's not a reddish brown. There was some samples over there of a reddish brown color back where Jim is. We do have some different color samples out there for you to look at. Reddish brown, you got a lot more red to it. You also have gray or grayish brown. It's not that, and definitely not black. So that's your surface color. Any questions on that? Subsoil color.
Yellowish brown or red, no gray modeling.
Yellowish brown or red, no gray modeling. Anyone have anything else? Okay.
No gray modeling.
When you look at this, you guys did an excellent job in saying these are not grays due to wetness or grays associated with the water table. If you look at these here, these colors, yeah, they got a gray look to them, a kind of a greenish gray appearance to them. You have some iron oxide coming out with it. Generally, when we say wetness due to grays due to wetness, you have the gray and the oxidized iron associated with it. These here, they're much larger in appearance. They cover a greater area of that profile. They're not irregular. They're not smaller units. They're not running in a particular direction. They're more larger in their makeup and coarser. And if you get some of this, you can almost see that the colors are associated with like a mineral grain. They're very sharp, angular colors. They have a sharp, well-defined boundary to them. It's not like a diffused type boundary there. So these are, although they might appear gray when you look at them, again, I can't emphasize enough that you want to put some water on these things and moisten them up because it will change the appearance. Texture. You got a piece back there. Okay, for texture, your surface soil first, you got to kind of identify where your surface is. And are we the first thing after you moisten it up? It's holding together pretty good. It's holding the ball. So you kind of say, all right, it's not a straight out coarse textured soil. The other thing, when you start rubbing it out, you're not getting a real good ribbon on this at all. You rub it, you see I'm rubbing it, but it's barely getting over a finger here. I'm not getting real strong ribbon. It's cracking up. So that means, okay, I'm not really a fine textured soil either. You kind of can eliminate those two pretty quick. So now I'm somewhere in the middle. When I rub this out, I look at it and I can see a lot of mica in there. Well, the thing is, this mica is going to act like a sand. So you got to keep that in mind. You got to look at it and say, all right, where do I think my mica content is in that soil? Because it's going to act like a sand. And that's going to throw you into a coarser textural class than probably what you're used to. So when I ribbon this out, I'm not getting a very big ribbon on there at all. It's not holding together. So now I'm not thinking I'm even moderately fine or texture because there's nothing going on there. So now I'm kind of in between a medium and a moderately coarse textured soil. Even for a medium textured soil, I'm not getting a good ribbon. There's nothing smooth. I'm not seeing any smooth faces. So I'm looking at the mica content. It's got quite a bit of mica content in there.